What's up, guys? It's your average trader here. I oftentimes get asked, what's the strategy that you use for your trading style? And I'll take you guys through, what I like to look for and how I get into plays and everything like that. So I'm gonna start off with this NVIDIA chart. I start off on the daily. So when you open up a chart, you can start off with a daily time frame on whatever stock you want to choose. That it could be Apple, Microsoft, Tesla, whatever you want. So the first thing I add to the chart is the MACD, and then I also add in the EMA. So you can see that I already have the settings for it. But you can have the 8 EMA, the 13 EMA, the 30, and the 48. But for simplicity, I like to just really have the 13, 30, and 48. So these could be different numbers for you, and so you would have to change the length of time. But just 13, 30, and 48. And I want to make this a brighter color. Let's see. Okay. So that I'll get into why those are important, but we can hide them for now. So the first thing I like to do on the daily time frame is to look for levels of support and resistance, meaning where I see price struggling to pass, which would be support because it keeps bouncing off of it, or places where price struggles to, pass over, which would be the resistance, because it comes back down. So right off the bat, I see a level right here, obviously, because this is support. It doesn't seem to want to pass that. So I add that one in. Next one I can see here, I had a couple touches, bounced almost on this day, and it broke through, and then here struggled to pass. So that's how the more touches it has, the better level it is. So here you see that there was a level from all the way over here, so you can add that one in too. Let's see, let's add in another one. Okay, so I like to map out anything major that I see on the daily time frame, and then we move into the 1 hour chart just to see recently what's going on. So we see, like, with these levels we have big price moves over it and under it. So here it went over, here it dumped, and here it went over again. And then we see yesterday in market open it bounced off the level, so that's good. It gives us confidence in what we're looking at. Here it looks like it's sitting in between this channel right here, so that's important to see because these could end up being your triggers to say, if it passes this level, 251.54, which is pretty even, right? 251.50 you could say, go in calls. If it passes this one, 239, again, pretty even, 239.50, right? It's a little off, but below 239.50 could be puts. So that's what I like to see on the 1 hour. If there's anything else that I missed, or anything more specific that I want to look at, you could say this is a level here. Yeah, that one right there. So you can see it bounced there, and then it struggled to pass up here. Tried to pass here, and then it did. So we could add that one too. Honestly, let's add that one in. Okay, so great. Now that we have those levels, then I move on to the 5-minute chart, and I zoom out, and I like to see what's going on pre-market. What was the previous day high? We can mark those things, but mainly the big thing that I like to look at in pre-market for the stock that I want to trade is the pre-market high. So meaning starting from 4 o'clock. I don't look at anything after hours from last night. So the pre-market high and the pre-market low, and I like to map those two just so I can see, because sometimes some stocks like to have a big push up when it passes that, so that could also be a level if you'd like to use it for that day. And I like to mark those in purple, and then I add a little text for myself to say pre-market high. Let's make that purple as well, and then let's add the pre-market low right there, you know, as it gets closer to the bell, where you can adjust your pre-market high and pre-market low accordingly. So let's add this. And now I'm not saying this is the end all be all. This is what's worked for me so far. I'm still, you know, obviously editing my little strategy that I'm trying. Still learning online, putting pieces together, but so far this is what I've done that's helped me. So we have the pre-market high, the pre-market low. We have our lower put level. You could even say like this would be a level, because it, you know, but that's neither here and there. I like to look at just the high level, like the 1 hour levels, for confirmation. Actually, look at that. If I zoom out some more, it seems like there was another level there and I missed it. So this is why it's good to zoom out as well and take a look at what happened in past. And it's interesting because if we take a look, it's pretty close to our pre-market low. So that's actually a really good sign. This could be a put level. And now let me take a look again at the 1 hour if there was something close to our pre-market high. Yeah, actually. Right here, there was a high right there. Interesting. So that's good. That makes us feel good about those pre-market levels. But I'm not going to map one there, just for cleanliness of the chart. So next, after I've got my pre-market high, my pre-market low, I can add in triggers, right? Create an alert to say below 244. Let's just even it out. 244, and then we can add in, save that, and then we can add in another one. Create alert, 246.50 above. So that way you'll get an alert if it crosses above and if it crosses below. Now, the next thing is we turn back on the EMAs. And I like to look at the 4 hour first, just to see, you know, how it's performing. So I like to look at the EMAs because it gives me the exponential moving average of the last 13 days, last 30 days, and the last 48 days. Now, when I say it's a bullish stack is when it is the 13 EMA is above the 30 and the 30 is above the 48, which means calls are the move. And that should coincide with the MACD below showing bullish, meaning that the yellow line is above the blue line on this one, right? And that the histogram is green, which shows bullish movement. So it all coincides, right? We see here on March 15th, it jumped, the EMAs crossed, and usually when the EMAs cross is the signal to buy in for calls. And if you can see, if you bought in around this area, some lows, but look at that, still kept coming up. But the price typically likes to come back to the 13, which ends up being the closer you are to the 13, the better the entry. And it may not always, you know, bounce off of it. So this is kind of like a flexible support line. And then anytime that price closes below, at or below, if you're in calls, that means exit. If you're in puts, if it closes above the 30 EMA, that means to exit. Typically, I don't wait until that. I lock in the gains as soon as I have it and move on to my next play. But what I like to see here is that calls are in play, but the MACD is starting to, you know, arch over to be bearish. So could be a reversal coming up, but what I like to see is that I had a pump, some digestion, another pump, a pullback, and then I had a weaker pump, and now it's in a pullback. So initial pump had some volume, the second pump had more volume, the third pump had little volume, like less volume, kind of like the first one. So that's interesting. And we also noticed that every time price comes really far away from the 13, it tries to come back, right? So here it tried to get away, came back, tried getting away, came back. Now it's really far away, and I wouldn't be surprised if price tries to come back to the 13 EMA. So it's important to note where the EMA is on the 4 hour, because it could come back and bounce. So during market open, Nvidia could actually drop and then skyrocket again. Also, depending on how the market overall performs. So if you want, you can in the morning you can take a quick, a quick put play, take some gains, and wait to see what happens if it drops even more below this one. So this level here. So at a high level, it looks like it's due for a pullback. Calls are in play. Let's take a look at the 5 minute. So here in the 5 minute, we see that the MACD is kind of coming down. Price is declining. There's a trend line here coming down. We could even map this trend line if we want. Right? We see that it's coming, touches, and now it's bounced twice close to this pre-market low, or actually at the pre-market low. So in this instance, right, this is how I analyze the stock in pre-market. I keep an eye on it, and then again, these are my call and put triggers, and I like to use the 5 minute for my entry, right? I want to make sure that if it's above pre-market high, that the MACD is, pointing to bullish. The EMAs are stacked on the 5 minute chart in a bullish manner, meaning the 13 over the 30 over the 48, and flip that. If it's below the pre-market low, I want to see that the MACD is bearish, meaning that it is now crossed here, and that the histogram is red, and that the EMAs are stacked in this way, the way it is right now, 48 over 30 over 13. If we take a look at yesterday, right, market opened up. Here we have a cross of the 13 over the 48, and we could have bought in at this candle, but look at how quick it is to reverse. It was very overextended. You want to wait for the retest typically. Here it retested, but you had a little bit of gain here. You probably would have lost on this one. So it also depends on how the market's doing overall. If you waited until the end of the day, right? Look, MACD bullish, EMA cross, 13 over 30 over 48, jumped up, had a pullback. It actually crossed the level, which is also very good to see. Came back, retested. You could have bought in here, kept riding, jumped off the 30, jumped off to 30, and it kept going into the close. So here you had a nice move, right? From 244 all the way up to 248. So that's a $4 move. And in options, that would have been very good of a return. So you notice that the 30 EMA is my signal to exit. If the 5 minute candle doesn't close below, meaning that the whole candle doesn't close below the 30, I'm still valid to be in this play. And that's mainly the way that I use those EMAs. And this is just a basic explanation of my strategy of how I use it. So as always, if you guys have any questions, you can find me on TikTok, Instagram. I also have a Twitter. I'm trying to be more active on all those things. But yeah, DM me, reach out to me, whatever you want to do. But until next time, guys, peace.